If you're still using these instead of this, or this, or this, or the all-new this, well, you're missing out. In this video, let's talk about the all-new H&Y Revoring VND+CPL Mark II, what's new about it, and what else can it do. You see, it all started with the hopes of providing a better solution for an age-old challenge, which is basically being able to use one filter for all of your different sized lenses. Now, for as long as I can remember, the solution to that is having to use one of these. And this is basically a step-up ring. A step-up ring allows you to use a larger filter for your smaller sized lenses. But the thing is, you'd still also need one of these for every size that you have. And that is why this was a great revolutionary answer. This is the Revoring, and this has been around for I think 2 or 3 years. The unique thing that it's able to do is basically adjust the size of the filter thread depending on what you need for your lens. And this one in particular has a range of 67 to 82 millimeters, which means that this can go here. This is a 67 millimeter sized filter thread on the Sony 20 millimeter f1.8, and at the same time, it can go on this one, which is the Sony 16 to 35 GM2. That's a 67 to an 82 with one adapter. And yes, this is just an adapter, but they also come in this form. Aside from the nice little limited edition orange, it also comes in this. And this is the Revoring VND+CPL. It's the same thing, fits 67 to 82. But at the same time, it has a built-in filter, and it is a VND+CPL. It goes from ND3 to ND1000. That's 1.5 stops all the way to 10 stops, plus a CPL. No, this is not new. This was the first version that came out around 2 or 3 years ago. Now, about a year after H&Y released these, they also came out with more things that you can use on them. For example, on this adapter, you can mount a magnetic clip-on filter. And yes, you can do the same on the VND+CPL, which allows you to go now from 8.5 stops on this, plus the minimum 1.5 stops. We have 10 stops, all the way to around 19 stops. Yes, a 19-stop variable ND filter, all because of the add-on magnetic clip-on filter. Another option are magnetic effects filters such as a mist filter, which I can't show you because it's on the camera I'm using right now. Now, to make things even more fun and even more usable for a range of different photographers and filmmakers, well, they came out with all of these. And that was the Revoring Swift system. And yes, for the purpose of me telling you what's new with the version 2 of the Revoring VND+CPL, I will show you all of these as well. But first, let's go into detail with the Revoring VND+CPL Mark II. As compared to the first one, as you can see, it still has that amazing design of being able to adjust the filter thread from 82 to 67 millimeters. But the enhancements given to the Mark II, well, would have to be here. As you can see on the Mark I, there are just 2 pins, and they're just static pins, right? On the Mark II, there are 3 pins, and all of them now have locks. As you rotate the small knob on the pins, you can basically lock the movement of the filter layer. For example, if you lock the frontmost pin, then you are basically locking the VND. This means that you cannot change how dark the filter will be. However, if you lock the second pin, you are actually locking the CPL, which means that if you move it like this, you're basically changing the VND, but you're not changing the CPL. You're not changing the polarization, or you're not using the CPL altogether. If you lock both of them, then they will be fixed, and nothing will change. Now, the third pin also has a knob, and it basically locks the biggest layer, which is the variable sized adapter. Now, what does that mean? if, say, you want to adjust it to a 67mm, just like this, and you want to keep it on a 67mm, you can turn the knob and lock that, and well, it's fixed. This will now be locked to 67mm, and if you have multiple lenses that fit a 67mm filter, then you can use it without even unlocking the whole thing. Now, if you want to release, then all you have to do is unlock the pin. Now, another nice thing about that is that if you lock the two front pins, which are the CPL and the VND, and you unlock the third pin, which is for the size, then you can actually also use the pins now to control the size. Which means that if, say, you have a small hand, and this is coming from a real life experience from a friend, my friend said that the filter is too big for their hand, so the problem is that it's pretty hard for them to hold onto the front and the back together and twist. So now, if he can't do that, then all you have to do is lock the two pins and unlock the third pin and pull. Now, even the Revoring VND+CPL Mark II has its limitations, and they are actually similar to the limitations of the Mark I. What is that? Well, I think the biggest concern that most users had was that in some lenses there would be a vignette. And that still applies to the Mark II. And I think that's basically just because of the physical limitations of the lens and the filter as a combination together. So I have tried this again with the 16 to 35mm. At 16mm, you will still see the edges of the filter because it would have to be that thick. And H&Y actually already had other options for that, such as the wide angle adapter, or you can use a straight up filter like the Revoring VND. Now, I also tried it with my 20mm f1.8, and at 20mm, there is no trace of the edges of the filter, so you're all good. I also tried this for landscape photography, and well, yes, it did perform the way I wanted it to perform. Now, if you want to learn how to use a VND or a variable ND filter for landscape photography, or maybe other uses of it for photography, then I am actually also releasing another video that teaches that. So again, this is the Mark II of the Revoring VND+CPL. Let's mount that onto this setup right here. Now, one way to do it is that you can use, again, the magnetic clip-on. So with that, you can have a total of 19 or 18 stops, if I'm not mistaken, on the filter itself, and you're able to change that by just moving the pins around. Now, on top of that, you have this. And this is basically what's called a bridge ring. The bridge ring will mount onto the front of the VND+CPL, or if you have a clip-on in front, then it will mount to the front of that. Now, this setup is actually already very usable for many different kinds of photography. But if you want to go further and go, say, full-on landscape photographer mode, then the bridge ring will mount to this, which is a square filter holder. And you can now use a magnetic rectangular GND. So one of the biggest things I like about the Mark II is that it's now fully compatible to the accessories for the Revoring Swift when it comes to landscape photography. But what if you're not a photographer? What if you're a filmmaker? Well, let's take everything out except the Revoring VND+CPL. That's a very long name, but you get the point. And we also still attach the bridge ring. Now, it was made a separate bridge ring because it's also compatible with other accessories. This is still compatible with the collapsible silicone hood, or if you're a filmmaker, even better, this is compatible with the matte box. As you can see, there are ridges here that connect perfectly to the ridges on the bridge ring, and it will mount magnetically. I don't think I will ever use this because I'm not a filmmaker, but you get the point. And lastly, I almost forgot, if you take this out, and you take this out, and say you don't want to remove the VND+CPL from your lens and you want to keep it inside your bag with the camera, then you can use this magnetic cap. Or if you want to take it out and you don't want to put it inside a pouch or whatever, then it also has a rear cap, just like this, and it's in one piece. And so there we go. If you have any questions about the H&Y Revoring VND+CPL Mark II, then of course you can leave them down below in the comment section. And either way, if you have questions about the H&Y Revoring Swift system, or if you have questions about using filters altogether, then you can of course leave them down below in the comment section as well. Of course, if you're new to the channel, my name is Nicco Valenzuela. I am a landscape and architectural photographer, and I would say I know a hell of a lot about these filters. And the content on this channel is of course about using filters, tripods, cameras, lenses, and a little bit of motivation as well. So if you're into any of that, then do click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. As a side note, again, if you want to learn how to use a VND for photography, then there will be a video coming out in a week or two, and you will be notified if you click that bell button. In any case, thanks for watching.